Now, I want you to see something kind of weird because we're going to be dealing with it in the second hour. I want you to notice this passage, Matthew chapter 1, verse 22 to 23. All this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet. Behold, okay, there's again, look, the virgin, what does virgin mean? Okay, we're going to come back to that. Shall be with child and bear a son, and they shall name him Emmanuel, which means God is with us. Look what the author did of Matthew, the one we call Matthew. He stuck in Isaiah chapter 7 into his infancy story. What? Why does he do that? What's the deal with all this fulfillment stuff? And see, this gets things weird because when we think of prophets, we think of Edgar Cayce or Nostradamus or some kind of thing like that, where prophet is someone who predicts something, right? That's what we think, right? Predicts, like dictionary, predicts, speaks it before it happens and then it happens. That's not really what a prophet is. And Matthew doesn't think of a prophet really that way. So what we need to do is we need to see the author of Matthew. First of all, wherever he got this story from, right? He plugs it in, and then he decides to split it up, and he puts in this thing from Isaiah saying this is a fulfillment. So we need to ask, well, why did he do this, and what does it mean? And we're going to deal with that in the second hour.
Is the spelling of Emmanuel, E and I, significant?
No, it's just a phonetic because there's really no vowels in Hebrew. So we're going to look at that too in the second hour. That's a good question, though. So we'll touch on that. Look, whenever we read the Bible, we have to ask, what is the culturally plausible meaning? We have to take the in inspiration seriously, since inspiration doesn't mean dictation, right? God's not whispering in people's ears, hey, dude, write this just like that. No, you missed a word. That is an inspiration, right? Inspiration happens in the messiness of culture. Incarnation happens in the messiness of culture. And Jesus wasn't American, and neither was Matthew, okay? So it's like I have to ask what the culturally plausible meaning is. It's the same thing if I read a cartoon, which is a high context literature in our culture. I hear a joke. Jokes only work when you get the joke, right? Right? They only work when you get the joke. So like if I'm hiring somebody, right, and you come up to me, right, and I want to put you to the test to see if you're intelligent. I need a smart person. I need a smart person to work for me, right? Okay. And I go, well, I only hire smart people. Oh, you tell me, well, I'm smart. I go, really? You're smart? I don't know, because I've seen a lot of dumb people. Really dumb people. Really dumb, okay? So I'm going to ask you if you know what this is. And if you tell me what it is, I'll know if you really know what it is. What is this? And I put out this little hockey puck in front of your face. And you look at it and you go, Shinola shoe polish. And I start to laugh. And you don't laugh. I know you're not too smart. At least how I consider smartness to be, because I get the joke that I'm giving, you don't get my joke. Because where I come from, see, people are stupid. They're so stupid they don't know shit from Shinola. So if you don't get that little joke, if you don't get that, you never heard that expression, as I can see some of the faces in here that never heard that expression before, then you're not going to get why I'm saying, are you smart? Not by planting a little bit of Shinola shoe polish. And in the Bible, my friends, there's a lot of Shinola cases all over the place. And that's why people read it and they think that they know from Shinola, but they don't really get these Shinola cases in the Bible. You understand what I'm saying to you? So Matthew is a high context document. Do you notice how many Shinola cases that we've looked at already this morning so far that we've had to plug explanations into? We have to stop. Let's look at it. Pause. Let's look at the explanation. Okay, stop. Let's pause. Let's put an explanation in. But since you were children, you've been exposed to the story, right? You've had it in your manger scenes and your Christmas pageants, and you think you understand the story. Do you understand the story? Without putting in the proper cultural, plausible explanations, your mind abhors a vacuum. Your mind, which is culturally informed with different conceptual furniture, those that work in America, not the Middle East, are going to plug the wrong furniture into those gaps in your understanding. And you're going to turn this story inescapably into an American story or a Western story or something from your devotional milieu, an emotional backdrop, a cartoon. It's not really going to be what's really being described here. And what's that? And what you're doing? See, I love Jesus. I love the Bible. I love Mary. Well, but you're not even reading them in a way that's honest to who they are. You're committing identity theft on them. Yeah.
You miss the meaning, then you miss what God's relaying through the scripture.
You got it.
It's gone.
The first interpretation in the Bible is the Mediterranean culture, folks. If you don't get that, you cannot understand what you're reading. You can't understand what the Bible means until you realize what the Bible meant. Does that make sense? Now, I'm looking around here and I'm seeing a lot of different cultures. And you know this, if I go into your culture that's different from mine, you could see very clearly that I'm going to stumble and I'm going to fall a little bit because I don't understand completely, do I? I don't get everything, and I shouldn't, because I'm from my own. Every human being doesn't mean a universal, every culture belonging to. You belong to a particular culture. To be human is to belong to a specific culture and a specific historical situation. So you need to help me, and I need to help you by listening to you and not assuming and not jumping to conclusions. And so we must do this with the Bible also. Why is it so easy to understand that? Especially with people who have lived in different cultures. It's so easy to understand that you can be an ugly American real quick in another culture. Why is that so easy to understand and yet so difficult to understand that you can very easily be an ugly American when you read the Bible? And being Catholic doesn't save you from that, my friends. Okay? So when you plug in those explanations, they got to be culturally plausible ones. They got to be honest to the culture. If we tried to find explanations for all these little Shinola cases that I've shown you so far from our American culture, it's doing great damage to the text. It's doing violence to the text, and it just won't work. It's as simple as that. But if we do find it elsewhere in the Mediterranean Middle Eastern library called the Bible, or the cultural explanations elsewhere in the Mediterranean and Middle Eastern world, which hasn't changed significantly in 4,000 years,
Or even in other writings that may exist.
or in other ancient writings from that part of the world, then what we're getting and what we're plugging in is at least culturally plausible, and it will certainly tally with this culture and be honest, or more honest.